Instagram, and good morning Facebook, I think. We all do the same thing. We all just wait for Facebook. All right, I am live. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PT on Ice Daily Show, brought to you by the Institute of Clinical Excellence. Happy Wednesday, which means it is Jerry on Ice. I'm Alex Germano, a TA in the Modern Management of Older Adult Division in both the online and live settings, and that's with lead faculty Dustin Jones and Christina Previtt. I would love to start off today by wishing Dustin Jones a very, very happy birthday, and my lovely husband Doug, who just walked upstairs. I should probably tell him happy birthday too. Make sure you comment and tag below and tag Dustin below and wish him a happy birthday so he can feel extra special today. Our April cohort of MMOA Essential Foundations online sold out rapidly, so I wanted to put the June date out there for you all, whoever is thinking of maybe joining the next cohort, just in case you're thinking about joining us online. I just wanted to let you know that that cohort starts June 23rd, and there's already people starting to sign up, so get after it. So let's get into it. Today, we are talking about home exercise prescription. And I know you're saying to yourself, Alex, why pick such a boring topic to talk to us today about? Well, let me tell you, the last few months, I have really been trying to dial in my exercise prescription. I have been in the search of the best way to get adherence, the best way to engage my patients, to engage families and caregivers, and make meaningful progress towards our goals. I'm also a little bit exhausted in seeing those frequent flyers. We see those patients over and over again, right, for different courses of care, just 3 months apart. And it's happening because they literally don't do anything in between bouts of physical therapy. And I find when I get these recurring patients over and over, I get a little bit burnt out. And I'm knowing that it's probably a problem in how I'm engaging them in exercise outside of therapy. So this is something that I've been really trying to dial in with. A unique issue within the population we treat is there's just like gigantic lack of physical activity that's probably led to the issues they're experiencing, perhaps being pain, weakness, falling, etc. So I've really started to realize that my 2 hours of therapy a week isn't going to combat the other 166 hours that they spend sitting in their recliner. We need to be very skilled at encouraging non-exercise physical activity, very in tune with understanding what the patient's willing to do, more importantly, what they won't do, and how much we can rely on the other people in their life to help facilitate the goals. So here's how I like to think about conceptually exercise prescription in this space. We need to consider three important, like 3 parts of the triangle, right, to make sure our prescriptions stick. The points of the triangle will be the patient, the family or spouse, and then the caregivers that are involved in this patient's plan of care, or if the patient has caregivers. So let's talk about the patient, because this is the big one. These are folks who maybe don't normally exercise, unlike you or I, who maybe lead very fitness-forward lives. These are folks who don't really engage in meaningful exercise. They've never engaged in exercise. They don't really like to exercise or see the benefit of it. So we need to understand first our patient's self-efficacy. Are they internally motivated or externally motivated? Do they have a drive to exercise at all? Again, curse of knowledge. Dustin had a great podcast about that. We have a curse of knowledge. We understand and we really buy into exercise, but these are folks who don't. They've never seen a benefit of it. They might have even gone to physical therapy in the past and not really seen a benefit. So what is the bare minimum that they're willing to do, and what's the maximum they would actually do? We can leverage self-efficacy for exercise, the self-efficacy for exercise questionnaire, to help determine and understand what's going to deter the patient from exercise and how we can program our exercise programs more efficiently around these barriers. You may want to dig in on visit 1, and I spend at least 10 minutes on visit 1 or that eval visit digging into my patient saying, okay, like what time of day would you be willing to exercise? Are you willing to give me like a few minutes a day of something? Like what do you do now? What have you done in the past? Like what works for you? Because they're not going to be like you and want to spend an hour to 2 hours in the gym every day, right? And I'm not even giving my patients really cool EMOMs or interval workouts to do, because I understand that if they just get up and move a little bit more, just get up and walk around, not related to their activities of daily living, like just to get up and do a lap around the house, they're probably going to feel a lot better and they're going to get fitter even from that, because they are not moving. So most of my exercise prescription these days is actually, okay, before breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every meal that you eat, you're going to get up, you're going to do 5 sit-to-stands, or you're going to walk 1 lap around the house. That's it, just before breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So these are just movement snacks that I'm asking the patient to do, and I'm trying to stack it with a habit. I definitely stole that from Dustin. He said that somewhere. But I'm trying to stack it with a habit. Dustin talked about movement snacking in length in the podcast before, so I encourage you, if you're not familiar with that term, to just kind of dig into that literature because it's awesome. But it's really simple. There's this fantastic study out there that I will link on Facebook about 1-minute daily exercise prescription as prescribed by a PCP, that primary care physician. And in the study, they had patients perform 30 seconds of push-ups and 30 seconds of sit-to-stands. Squats. And that's it. And they made them do it after they brushed their teeth. So they took that habit and they provided a daily reminder for the patient, and they only made it a minute. And guess what? 75% of the people completed at least half of those exercise sessions, and they got stronger. They were able to perform more during their max sets of push-ups and sit-to-stands daily. And that's only 1 minute of exercise. So let's talk memory, because we need to understand, like, is our patient going to remember to do these exercises? Remember, this person may not have that big internal drive to really want to engage in exercise. They literally might have one appointment, and that one appointment is going to cloud their brain, and they're going to forget that they had to exercise that day because they're so focused on like one thing. My 2 favorite ways to creating adherence, or to just kind of improve this, like improve their memory of exercise, is to, 1, create an adherence log on a simple sheet of paper, or I use composition books occasionally. But I literally will write an adherence log with a date, and then I'm going to write max repetition sit-to-stand. They're going to do 1 minute, and they're going to write the number that they do every single day. They're just going to give me 1 max set of sit-to-stands every day, and that's all we're going to do. And I really like that. Or I use the Alexa device to, as I whisper so she doesn't turn on, to set auditory reminders for the patient. Or like an iPhone, I can set an alarm every day for them. I love that adherence log though, because they can check back and see what they've done, and that builds like a lot of like internal drive to keep doing these exercises. The patient, like, they see how they're feeling about the exercise, they see that they're being consistent, they kind of buy into it more. And then it gives me an opportunity to adjust and say, well, you're not doing it, so maybe is it 30 seconds that I want to do this exercise program, or maybe it's like, you know, a different exercise. Like, why aren't you liking this exercise? Let's dig into that. So rethink that, you know, lastly, I do want to say we need to expect our patients are going to want to engage in exercises that are meaningful to them and exercises that are really relevant to them. So we need to bridge the gap and explain to them why this exercise that we've chosen is really important to achieve the goal that we are trying to work on with them. So again, don't just give them some random exercise, really make it meaningful and impactful. So I really just want you to rethink that piece of paper that you're just tossing out to the patient during the last 5 minutes of your session with those 3 exercises written on it, and say, and as you're walking out the door, just shouting, "Are you good?" No, they're not good. They're probably not going to do it. This is a population we need to sit and engage them in this conversation. Even the patients who I think can handle it, they still don't do it. They're just, you know, we need to establish adherence to 1 exercise at a time and see if that works before we give them more. Can you create an awesome adherence log with, like, you know, that, like I said, that box of number of repetitions, give them the 1 minute of daily exercise, like have them write all that down. And I've had so much success with that really simple routine. It is absolutely mind-blowing. Other things I've had success with patients who maybe want a little bit more challenge and or can kind of like handle the 20 minutes of activity. They're like, yes, I'm in, I want to do 20 minutes of exercise, but I don't understand how to make a workout for myself. Like, I don't get it. That's the barrier. It's too difficult. So I go to YouTube, and really grateful for the pandemic in a sense, because there are 9 million exercise videos for seniors on the internet, and they're not all that seated senior exercise thing where they're just doing like toe raises. You can talk to your patient about what qualities in an exercise program or a video that I'm looking for. So for example, I like when they have a sitting and a standing variation, so that they can choose what to do based on how they feel, right? So there's somebody sitting, there's someone standing. I like exercises that are more like interval style, or that go for like max repetitions in a certain amount of time, so the patient can kind of go at their own pace. And then what I do is I set up a bookmark folder on their computer with about 5 different exercise routines. And even for one of the sessions, we'll do them together. We'll do one of these exercise routines together. And I'm going to see and understand if they can access the video. Can they find it on their computer and access it? If they can they follow it? And is the pacing appropriate for them? Like, can they keep up with this exercise video? And if they can they make that decision on when to sit, when to stand, when to pause the video if they need? And like, I want to know if they enjoyed it, because I'm not going to just leave them with this video that they don't even enjoy, right? So go to YouTube, leverage YouTube right now, because there's so many good videos. HasFit, H-A-S-Fit, they have a lot of senior exercise videos, and they always have somebody sitting and somebody standing showing different variations. I love it. So we need to talk about the other people in the triangle, and that's the caregivers and the family. We all know that there are caregivers that are super engaged in the plan of care. They watch you during the session. They're really engaging with you, and they want to learn more. And then we have those who want to go to the other room when therapy arrives. Okay, we have both. There's a spectrum. And if we require a caregiver to help us facilitate a home exercise program, we need to have a long conversation about what that looks like. And it's not us just talking to them about what we need. We need to understand what the caregivers need, right? Are they allowed to help us? Some caregiving companies don't allow them to do exercise. Can they provide verbal reminders? Like, is that enough for the patient to engage in a little walk once a day? Are they worried about safety? Do they maybe not understand what we're asking them to do? Are they unsure of what to do when the patient reports pain, when they report that they're struggling physically that day? So we need to sit down with that person and ask what's feasible during their day. They are caring for a person and might only have a moment to take a breather before the next task needs to be done. So if we're going to come in there on our high horse and just shout, like, you need to be doing this with them, like, why aren't you doing these stretches with them 8 times a day, or I hope not, doing these, like, sit to stands with them 3 times a day, we might be missing something, right? We need to really understand and engage with these caregivers and be asking, okay, can we simplify this routine? Can I get you guys to do 1 minute together a day? Like, is that feasible? Can I habit stack? And can you do this breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Is that easier for you? There was another great study published called Healthy Life for African American Women Caregivers, and it was valuable in understanding caregiving experience. They were asked what makes a healthy life for a caregiver, and they kind of concept mapped a few different ideas, and they mentioned things, these were common themes that they mentioned about what would create a healthy life for them. And that looks like maintaining relationships, preserving oneself, having support, feeling personally empowered, having appropriate resources. It's not very personally empowering to come into the room and as a PT or OT or clinician kind of just be shouting these exercises at them like, you need to do this, and then walk out the room, right? Could you imagine if we just we're just slapping these exercises on them and it's going to conflict with what they deem to feel valued as a professional? How about we honor the values that our caregiving partners have and, try to meet our goals with the patient meet our goals and the patient's goals. So we can work together as a team here versus it being very like PT telling caregiver what to do. Lastly, we just need to consider the family. I hear it all the time. My mom doesn't exercise with anyone but you. When I try to exercise with her, she just yells at me. I hear that constantly. We need to consider and dig into what the barriers are with that HEP prescription with the family. How can we make it easier for them to incorporate activity into the person's day? Can we just ask them to do like something around the house, like, hey, can you fold these towels in standing, versus having them do bicep curls in sitting or like deadlifts or something, because the patient may perceive that differently than like formal exercise. Maybe we have them, maybe we just ask the family member to put on one of those great exercise videos together, and they can simply just provide the reminder to get up and move. Remember, the family is with that patient every single day, right? All the time. They're probably looking for a teeny bit of a break when you're there. So it's nice to set up the expectation that, yes, I'm going to need you to do something outside of therapy, but what are you willing to give me, right? What are you willing, where can we meet in the middle that I know that this person needs to move more? Is there just one task that they can help you with during the day, like doing the dishes or putting away the dishes or folding laundry? Can they just help and move around a little bit more? Can you guys go for 1 walk a day? I think a lot of the principles we kind of talked about previously apply to the family as well, in getting them involved. But just ask, what are the limitations, and really dig in and be okay spending 10 to 15 minutes on this conversation. Don't feel like your value is only in straight up exercise. Talking about these things is also really important. I would love to hear how other tips and tricks that you all have that increase your patients' adherence to your exercise programs. Like, what are you doing out there that is really working for people? Like I said, for me, what's been working is that 1 minute of max reps and the exercise videos. Like, my patients are loving those. So let me know what you think. I think we can crowdsource this problem and figure out the best solutions. So leave some comments below. Leave a happy birthday message for Dustin and tag him so he feels so special today. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and remember, those articles are going to be linked on Facebook. All right, have a good morning now.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review, and be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.